Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, which one have you did? I'll be again sharing the screen with you all. Yesterday we had studied on T cell activation, and today what we are going to study is about B cell activation. Okay, so how the B cell gets activated, because every cell like T cell or B cell, they do not immediately start working as soon as they come or interact with any antigen. For them, they need to go through certain processes. They need so there are certain signals which that has to be followed, or that has to be like prepared, which will help them in um getting activated. Okay, so now for B cell activation, this B cell activation processes happens by two way. So we'll show you how it happens. Now we know that the origin of B cells are in the bone marrow. Yeah. So in the beginning, they are known as mature naive B cells. Okay, naive B cells, because they don't know their duties, or they actually um their what do you say, their duties has not been assigned to them, so they are known as mature naive B cells. So these B cells, they will leave the bone marrow, and then what they will do, they will recirculate it between the blood, the secondary lymphoid tissues, and the lymph. So in these areas, they will continue to recirculate. They will keep on circulating in these areas. Okay, now what will happen to these B cells? Now, for example, there is an antigen here. You see this antigen? So a B cell will recognize that antigen, go and bind to it with the help of these receptors, and then it will form its clone. Many B cells will be formed. B cells, cloning of B cell will form, and then it will form plasma cell, from where the various antibodies related to those antigen will also be seen to be formed. And we will also have formation of memory cells. Okay, so these memory cells are required, so that in future, if the same antigen is affecting, then this memory cell will be ready to directly or very fast affect those or fight against those antigens. So generally this is the procedure which happens. But now this B cell activation can be differentiated into two processes, or there are two different ways. One is T cell independent activation, another is T cell dependent activation. Now what these two names suggest? Now this T cell independent activation or T cell dependent activation will be based upon what? It will be based upon what type of antigen has encountered the body, and then the B cell has encountered what, like has this B cells are facing what kind of antigen. Based upon that, the activation of B cell or which process the B cell is going to activate will be dependent upon. So this, you see in this example, you see this, what is this? This is a microbial surface. Now this microbial surface, what does it have on top of it? These are epitopes. What are epitopes? The epitopes are antigens. I mean, not antigens, sorry. Epitopes are those receptors to which the antibodies go and bind. Epitopes are present where? In the, on the antigens. Okay, the epitopes are present on the antigens, and the antibodies, they go and bind to those epitopes. But all epitopes are not specific for all kind of antibody. A specific epitope of an antigen will be specific for a specific kind of antibody. So what happens here? First of all, what is happening? We see this is a microbial surface. On top of this, there are several epitopes which are present. Now this is a B cell which came in contact with this particular epitope, or with this particular microbial surface on which there are the epitopes. Now the receptors of the B cell, when it got, all of them has clustered in this area. There are few more on the other side, but this area, you see the clusters of the B cell receptors has taken place. Then after they cluster here, they will bind to those epitopes. Okay, and this will activate certain proteins. Okay, this clustering of B cell receptor is necessary to activate certain protein. What are the proteins? Like Ig alpha and Ig beta. So these are the protein molecules that gets activated, and then it initiates the signaling process. Fine. Then after this IgA or Ig alpha or Ig beta proteins, they are then transferred to the nucleus or conveyed to the nucleus. Okay. So here we see they are passing this side, they are signaled to the nucleus. Fine. Now this B cell receptor which is clustered here, it depends upon what? It depends upon the type of antigen that has been encountered by the B cell receptor. Now this particular antigen, fine, the epitopes which are present over here, they are all multiple repeating epitopes. Okay, multiple repeating epitopes. That means what? The same epitope has been repeatedly present here. So that is why it becomes easier for these receptors to identify them, to get bound to them, because they are all similar. They don't need to like try hard to prepare any more or new kind of antibodies for this. So this is constantly repeating here on this antigen, the epitopes. So which are known as multiple repeating epitope. So what will happen? This BCR will all get clustered on the B cell in this region so that they can easily get bound to the epitopes present on the antigen. In this T independent activation, what we are studying right now, is T independent activation. That means this particular process does not require the help of T cells. The activation of these B cells do not require the help of T cell. We saw that there are two different types of B cell activation. One is T independent, another is T dependent. So what we are studying now is T independent. So T independent means that they do not require the help of T cells. They are getting activated itself. So when will that occur? Only when these epitopes are multiple repeating epitopes. So what kind of antigens are generally multiple repeating multiple repeating epitopes? They are mostly this polysaccharide, glycolipids, or nucleic acid. We know that a bacteria has got we know how the structure of a bacteria is. So it is not that to infect a person, the whole of the bacteria needs to be virulent, or the whole of the bacteria needs to enter. Even a part of the bacteria like the polysaccharide, which is the cell wall of the bacteria, the glycolipids again, then again nucleic acid. So these areas of the bacteria can also play the role of an antigen. Okay, so when this kind of antigens enter the body and the B cell encounters such type of antigens like polysaccharide, glycolipids, or nucleic acids, then what happens? The B cell, they get activated without the help of T cells. Okay, so what has happened here? We have seen the clustering of B cell receptors in that area. So the antigens which can trigger B cell activation without T cell help, those kind of antigen are called as T independent or thymus independent antigen. And the process by which this B cell activation without the help of T cell help take place, this is known as T independent B cell activation. So this is the process. Okay, so now as we know, most antigens, whatever like whenever an antigen enters it, we have seen that most of the antigens are proteinaceous in nature. So if they are proteinaceous in nature, they are not multiple repeating epitopes. If they are nucleic acid, if they are polysaccharide, if they are glycolipids, those are multiple repeating epitopes. But the ones which are proteinaceous in nature, they are not multiple repeating epitopes. So when they are not multiple repeating, then it becomes difficult for the B cell to cluster at one point. And then at that point of time, the B cell activation requires the help of T cell. So those antigens, that trigger by B cell activation with the help of a T helper cell. They are known as T independent or thymus dependent antigen. And those B cell, the process of by which this B cell activates with the help of T cell is known as T dependent B cell activation. Okay, so now at the moment we are studying our T independent. That means the B cell activation without the help of T cells, T helper cells. So this is the same thing which I had told you a while ago, that this is a microbial surface where there are epitopes, several epitopes, and these epitopes are all having repetitive identical epitopes. Okay. Now this B cell, this is a B cell, in this B cell the receptors has all clustered in this area. So this is the first signal for the activation. Okay, for the first signal is what? The clustering of B cell receptor in this area of the B cell. Now what will happen? The in the like the second signal, for the second signal to start, there on the B cell, have you seen these things coming out? Okay, so these are what? These are known as toll-like receptors. Now what is the function of this toll-like receptor? This toll-like receptors, they can identify the other microbial molecules that are present on this microbial surface. Okay, this B cell receptor, they can identify the repetitive epitopes like nucleic acid, polysaccharide, or glycolipids, while these toll-like receptors, they can also identify some other molecules that may be present on the microbial surface. So this is what is signal 2. So once this happens, the cell gets activated. Fine. After this, what is the next step? The next step that takes place is the B cell got activated. Now it will form the plasma cell. So once the plasma cell is formed, now that plasma cell will lead to the formation of antibodies. The antibodies most of the time which is formed in this kind of T cell independent B cell activation is IgM. You will be studying on the different kinds of immunoglobulins or antibodies. So out of those many antibodies, this is one of them, IgM. Ig stands for immunoglobulin, and this is immunoglobulin M. And in this process, there is no formation of memory cells. There is no memory cell produced. And even if memory cells are produced, it's very less in number. What is the reason behind that? The reason behind why there is less number of memory cell production or no memory cell production is because it is not dependent upon T cells. Memory cell production requires the help of T cells, and since there is no T cell involved in it, so there is no memory cell production. Okay, so this is about the T independent B cell activation. Fine. So this is again a recap of the whole process where we see that this is the antigen surface where the B cell receptors has been formed on the B cell receptor has all been clustering in one side of the B cell, which makes it easier for it to bind to the repetitive epitopes present on the antigen. This is the signal 1, and the second signal is that the toll-like receptors will also emerge out of the B cell, and they will also bind to the other molecules on the microbial surface. So this is signal 2. So once these two processes are over, the B cell will start proliferating and differentiation of the activated B cell. This is like this has been activated after the second signal. Then after this activation, they will form plasma cells, which leads to the formation of IgM antibodies, and only the IgM antibodies will be formed. There will be no production of memory cells in this process because there is no involvement of T cells, T helper cells. Without T helper cells, there is no memory cell production. Okay, so is this part clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, now this is about T cell dependent. Okay, so what we have studied in the first one, I think you remember. Now coming to T cell dependent B cell activation. So this process, it is a little bit different compared to the other one. Here the antigens are mostly protein. Now the nature of the protein and proteinaceous antigen is that they cannot cross-link with the multiple B cell receptors, and they do not process the same kind of epitope.